And hello everyone, good evening. I am going to do a card reading. It is about 8:30 Eastern Time, United States. And I figured today we're going to do a reading asking about how do we clear our emotions and our emotional body while we keep good boundaries. How do we cleanse our emotions and keep boundaries? And we're just going to see what the cards tell us, what the guides tell us, and what intuition tells us. So I'm going to just do, I've already shuffled some, but I'm going to shuffle a little bit. I'll do each deck. And while I'm doing this, I ask for the highest of highest spiritual guidance from guides, loved ones, ancestors. Let's see, we're going to tell a story. And from the highest of highest spiritual beings and from our own God-given intuition. And I give my guides permission to speak with me and to transmute information as needed, as they seem needed. So, what's led me to this is my own cleansing, my own releasing. I've always been a deeply, deeply feeling person. And some people may not gather that at this time because I've worked so very hard on boundaries because I literally used to have none. And it landed me in quite a few positions throughout my whole entire life until my world came crumbling down and everything was reviewed in front of my eyes for over a year, and I saw every single act and inact of mine, and so on and so forth. So I had to plunge into the dark night of the soul to finally learn what I needed to learn. I don't think people should have to go through that, but it takes strong will and also understanding about what we need to do about releasing our feelings. So what's happened since that dark night of the soul is I am most definitely healing and in a much different place. Almost feel like a different person now. But basically I can see something. It would have touched me as a child too, and I could see it now, and I could feel my entire heart chakra just opening up. And right at that moment, I feel the tears welling up. And I'm releasing. I am releasing things that I was unable to release due to my issues for many years. And so I'm releasing things as they come along, and I'm also releasing things that have been pent up through the years. And it's all within those boundaries that I've learned, and I'm still learning. So the question is, in Great Spirit and Universe, how do we go about cleansing our emotional fields and holding on to boundaries? How do we do this? How do we go about cleansing our emotional fields, releasing our emotional fields? Pick a clarifying card. And holding on to boundaries. How do we go about releasing and cleansing our emotional fields and holding on to boundaries? And I'll pick two cards from my messenger deck. How do we go about releasing our emotional fields and holding on to boundaries? I ask for answers and I ask for help. And for anyone who's going to be watching this, how do we release and clear our emotional field and still hold on to boundaries? I know boundaries is a buzzword these days, but they're essential. Absolutely essential. Anyone who tells you differently, they don't have many. Or they cross others all the time. So be aware of that. And how do we cleanse and release our emotional field and hold on to boundaries? How can we safely release our emotions? Because essentially we are energetic beings. Those emotions are what makes us human. How do we cleanse our emotions and stay safe through boundaries in our energetic fields? How do we cleanse our emotions and stay safe in our energetic fields? This one I'll put over here. Okay, let's start. Again, storyteller. Perhaps we have to start telling ourselves a story. Perhaps we have to approach it as if it's a story, and essentially it is a story. Just notice something. Is that a scorpion? That almost looks like a scorpion. Interesting. Perhaps we have to approach our emotions like a story. And at the end of stories, there's an ending. There's an ending to all stories. Maybe our crying, getting welled up, feeling very deeply, and releasing it somehow. And that's part of the story. That's part of the chapter. Let's just put this aside for now. A shadow. A shadow and darkness is our shadow side. This isn't very clear to me, so I'm gonna proceed. The empath. Alone time is needed. Let's wait for this picture to emerge. And I'm going to let you know, like, just at this moment, just seeing this. First of all, this is a 4 and this is a 4. Deer's love, empath is the ability to love and to feel. To feel exactly what we're talking about. Okay? I'm going to just keep going because I feel like instead of going over each card, I want to just pull. And there's the always prepared card. I think I understand. These things that we feel, they're part of our stories, and usually when we're releasing emotions, it's part of something that was hidden and buried, which is our shadow. That's our shadow. It was once in the darkness, and we have to bring it to light. So our story that we know of, that we buried, it became shadowy, it became dark, it got trapped inside of us. We had to learn to have more empathy for ourselves. We have to learn how to empathize with ourselves. You know, there's so much in today's day and world, and it's a paradox because we're not told how to truly release and how to truly feel in safety. But yet, in movies and in stories, everyone is harped on and yelled at for not being caring and not feeling and not expressing. But everywhere else in life, almost everywhere we turn, including if you come up in a toxic family, we are not shown how to release in safety. You know, cry, it's okay. Go and spend some alone time with yourself and feel and just explore your feelings and get it out. Don't stuff it down inside. You know, anyone who does have a family or a home like that is very, very fortunate. They're going to have a one-up. But for the most part, I think a general consensus is most of us don't have that. And there's a lot of confusing messages out there. So going back to this, it's our stories. It's our story. Even the stories that have brought us a lot of love and truth, sometimes sharing them wasn't always safe for us. You know? Okay, yeah, I saw that too. What's the big deal? All right, get on with things. You know, when something really good happens and we feel love and something makes us really happy, we should be allowed to focus on that and talk about that, because it's truly what makes the world go around, and it's what heals us. It's what heals us. So it becomes a shadow. And once that happens, we need to turn towards empathy, and empathy towards ourselves. Because we have empathy for others, and we're feeling that. You know, we have to remember to feel for ourselves. We have to remember it's okay and safe to heal. We're not too sensitive. We're not babies. We're not weak. Most importantly, we are not weak. Okay, so empath, alone time is needed. And here we have a mermaid, and she is on a rocky beach. I can see the water. It appears to be possibly sunset. Maybe it's sunrise. I don't know. But she seems just to be sitting on the rock and looking over the water. Birds are doing their own thing. Yellow and orange, the color of the solar plexus chakra. Alone time is so important. And during my very dark night of the soul, during the whole time, including when I was starting to heal up, I wanted to be alone. I did not want to be around others. It was too much for me. It felt too raw for me. At that point, I didn't know how to not feel. And I wasn't comfortable enough to explore this newfound release of mine around other people as my life was being stitched back together. So a lot of alone time, and still to this day, sometimes I just need to come into my room and quiet down and breathe and just watch a little something, watch, a little video on one of your spirit animals. I've taken up an interest in wolf again, in spirit animal, which I had an obsession with wolf as a child, probably from about age 5 to, I'd say, about 20, 21, and then that changed. But the need to see wolf and hear about wolf, learn more about wolf and the wolf packs in Yellowstone and all of that, that's all coming back to me, which is very, very interesting. So anyway, that can calm me down, but that's my alone time. That's what I do. That's how I recharge. Or I listen to a song, help release my emotions some. Okay, and with the empath, we have the deer, which is the love card. Slow down and give yourself grace. I've been picking this card a lot lately. Okay, so we have 2 4s as well. And then we have partnership. Accept yourself and your colorful personality. Feel confident about being you. You are a joy bringer. Now that's interesting. I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let your community nourish and protect you. Ask for help. Teamwork will give you the best results. Okay, now here's it's saying to be alone. I think what this card is saying is it's okay to release your feelings around others, but make sure they are the right people. Make sure they're in your circle. And even if your circle is one person, two people, that's okay. And if you have a lot of people, make sure it's a safe place to be. Make sure they're doing the work too. They don't have to be doing the same work that you're doing, but they have to respect the work that you're doing at least. That's all that it takes. No one has to love what I'm doing or even be interested, but at least respect it. Respect my wishes, my dreams, my loves, all of those things. You know, it goes a really long way. So make sure the people you're around respect you and respect your feelings. And the same goes for us. We have to respect their feelings too. So we can't be so taken back when we see someone breaking down because they see a beautiful flower. You know, sometimes nature, God talks through nature. Sometimes nature can really touch us like that, you know? That's how things have been for me. And I know it's hard to understand. It's hard for us to understand too. Also, develop a partnership with yourself. It's really important. And always be prepared. I'm going to pick a clarifying card. Let's see what this is. Just don't do things like you used to do things. Change things up. Now's the time. Frog is in water. She is in water. The puffin is in water. The deer is in a meadow, a forest edge. It almost looks a little bit watery. Let go of the past and embrace change. Opportunities are close at hand. Hop into the new day with joy. Abundance and good fortune await you. The frog is alone here. But looking up, sun is shining. Frog is able to breathe in the water and breathe on air. And breathing is important too for us when we're releasing our emotions. I'm going to go ahead and show these clarifying cards. Inventor, ingenuity. You come up with your own interesting ways to release your emotions safely. It could be through dance, it could be through jogging, it could be through hiking, it could be through painting, reading, whatever it is that can get things flowing and release things for you that have been bundled up, or the ability that when something does happen, like you're able to feel that you're not, oh no, let me hold that in. You don't want to do that. We don't always have to hold things in. And we have Hawk. Change your perspective. Remember, we're energetic beings. We're meant to feel. We're meant to feel. We're meant to release those feelings. It's supposed to be a smooth process. It might not feel that way, but this is what makes the world go around. This is part of love. And so essentially, this isn't telling us, it's just letting us know this is what took place. Our story became our shadow at some point for those of us who have had this issue in our lives. And we have to turn towards the empath within us and the self-love and the self-grace. Make sure if you're around others that you do have partnerships and they're concise. Now keep in mind, puffins form huge colonies. They're all together. No one is stealing each other's eggs. There's none of that trickery going on between the different puffins during their breeding in their breeding colonies. And the squirrel. You are the expert of hard work and hard play. Your cheerful and fun disposition is a blessing to everyone. Don't let life's distractions take you off course. Make a plan for the future and life will give you all you need. I think release, cry, laugh, do all of those feelings. And if there's ever a time and you don't feel safe, you're prepared because you're learning. At that point, you don't stuff your feelings away. You move to a new environment. You don't allow someone who disrespects you to be in yours. Your ability to release and to feel is sacred. It's a sacred gift. We've been taught to stuff it down inside, and that has to stop. Move through life, hop through life. Remember to breathe. Emotions is water. Remember to breathe when we're feeling heavy. Remember to breathe when we're feeling light and airy. But release. Frog is about healing and releasing. Remember, crying is a release of toxins. You know, I'll tell you, when I went through my dark night of the soul, which I might get into at another time, but there were times after I cried that I actually felt so much better physically. It was pretty amazing. Hawk, change your perspective. So we're changing everything about how we heal and how we release. I think it's a very important lesson. It needs to be retaught to us humans. And at this time, I thank my guides. I thank all the intuition that has come to us. And I'm just going to do all this. And let's just say, let's just pick one card from the messenger deck. Great Spirit and Spirit Guides, if you have one thing, you might have two things. If you have one thing that you should impart to all of us, one thing you want listeners to know right now, what would that be? What would that be? One thing you want listeners to know right now, what would that be? One thing you want listeners to know right now. Surrender to transformation and rebirth. I think so many of us are going through this at any given time. And remember kids, remember that once we do go through rebirth, we can keep going through them. There's many facets of ourselves that keep, being reborn and recreated and transforming. I've always said love, truth, growth, and creativity. The growth part, it's constant. If we weren't here to grow, what are we here for? So let's just take a peek at what this is. The earth. You are building a firm foundation. Pay attention to the details. Pay attention to yourself, okay? That's not selfish. Remember that. Okay, much love to everyone. I hope this helped. Good night.